Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Mark Timberlake, and I'm back with a brand new video. And today, guys, I'm coming back with another college football video. So, as you all know, Michigan, Ohio State, two Big Ten teams, undefeated, biggest rivalry in college football. I believe they're on a collision course to meet each other, undefeated, both of them being 11-0. Now, here's the big question: what's the top four looking like for them? Well, let's be honest. If there's a year that Michigan's going to win in Columbus, go to the top four, out of all the years in the past they didn't, this year is a year that I believe that very well could happen. Now, could Ohio State very well win as well? Yes. Here's the deal. Ohio State's had trouble in the first half. I think there's a possibility that Michigan runs up the score enough that Ohio State's not able to keep up and they can't score enough points to win the game. But you need to look at it like this. Also, from a perspective, Michigan's not going down there to lose that game. They could lose that game, but they also very well could win that game. I believe Michigan will win, but as you all know, I'm a Michigan fan, so go ahead, comment down below. Mark Timberlake, too biased, whatever. I don't really care. So here's what I'm saying. With Michigan and Ohio State on a collision course to be undefeated at the end of the season, you look at it like this. Michigan is an incredibly good team, good quarterback, and with an offensive line, all those offensive linemen going downhill with Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards toting the rock behind them, that's a Michigan team that I wouldn't want to get in the way of. Ohio State's had trouble establishing a run game. C.J. Stroud has established that he can run, but he's going to have trouble being able to run with the way that Michigan's going to bring the pass rush. So he's going to have to be able to make throws. And he hasn't really made a contested throw all season. He's going to have to make some contested throws against Michigan. No doubt about it, I could see this game being a shootout, but I still think Michigan will win. But here's what we look at. Top four. Let's say, for instance, Michigan does lose. Let's say you have a one-loss Michigan team, a one-loss Clemson team who got annihilated by Notre Dame. Alabama, 2 losses, they're out. LSU, 2 losses, however, they could still be in. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I see Michigan as being the team that you kind of have to choose. Because Clemson got annihilated by Notre Dame. And they probably, if they lose to Ohio State, I'd say they're barely going to lose to Ohio State. I personally think they'll beat Ohio State. But let's say, for instance, they lose, they'll probably be barely losing. Not to mention, they'll also be in Columbus. So you look at that, I'd say you'd have to take Michigan in the top 4, but they'd probably be a 4 seed. Let's say, for instance, Michigan beats Ohio State. Ohio State's probably going. But if Ohio State goes, I'd say they would probably just flip with Michigan. Either Ohio State would be a 4 seed or then Michigan would flip, Michigan 2, 3. But TCU would still be undefeated. So I personally think that if Michigan or Ohio State, with 1 loss, they make top 4, that team would have to be a 4 seed. But you also got to look at it like this. You got a 1-loss Tennessee team who will not go to the conference championship because of the loss they had to Georgia. Probably not going to go. But you got but now, like I said, we're going to talk about LSU. LSU, 2 losses, but there's still a small, very small chance that they can make the top 4 if they win their conference championship. But I don't think that's going to happen. Right now, my top 4 shapes up like this. I'm going to give you my first 2 out, and then my top 4. Coming in at number 6, we have the LSU Tigers. 2 losses, but still a very good showing against Alabama. Got the win. My number 5 seed, we got Tennessee after that loss to Georgia. 1 loss, out. Now, let's look at my top 4. Coming in at number 4, I got TCU, undefeated. Had a couple of close games, but still, good amount of ranked wins. At number 3, I got Ohio State. Played good, still winning, getting it done, but struggled against a 1-8 Northwestern team when they were pegged to be number 2. I don't think so. They haven't played like a top 5 team, top 4 team in a while. I got them at number 3. Number 2, I got Michigan. Beating everybody by a good margin. Down 17-14 against Rutgers at halftime. Came out in the second half. Didn't flinch. Outscored them 38-0, I believe it was. That's why I got Michigan coming in at my number 2 spot. At number 1, got the reigning champs from last year, the Georgia Bulldogs. Dogs haven't lost a game. Beating everybody. Looking confident in every single show and continue to win. Continue to get it done. I got Georgia at number 1. So that's what my top 4 is shaping up like right now. Back to Michigan, Ohio State on the collision course. I can see both of them making top 4. I can also see one of them losing a game, though, and not making the top 4, considering Tennessee's win over Alabama. Tennessee is not a bad team. Can they still make the top 4? Absolutely. Absolutely. But they're going to need a couple things to go their way. Number one, not only if Ohio State loses one and Michigan wins the Big Ten championship, odds are Michigan Ohio State will still go. So what they're going to need is they're going to need a couple things to go their way. First off, they're going to need TCU to lose. TCU loses, I believe they'll overtake TCU, but they need TCU loss. Another thing they probably need is, while a TCU loss would be nice, it's not guaranteed that would put Tennessee in over them. Tennessee probably will go in over them considering Tennessee lost to a really good Georgia team, but they got smoked by a Georgia team. So another thing Tennessee would need would be a loss from either Georgia, Michigan, or Ohio State would be nice. Michigan, Ohio State play at the end of the season. One of those two teams is going to lose. Basically, when you look at Michigan, Ohio State fan, if you're a Michigan fan or Ohio State fan, you look at it like this. These are two teams that are basically tied for second, and they play at the end of the season to solidify their dominance, go to the Big Ten, win the Big Ten championship, they're in. So if you're a Michigan or Ohio State fan, they control their own destiny. They go undefeated, win the Big Ten championship, they're in. They're not, they don't. You have to see if they're a 4-seed or one of the first two out. It's going to come down to that. So that's how you got to look at it if you're a Michigan or Ohio State fan. They solidify their own destiny. Do I think Ohio State has a much better chance to make it in than Michigan does with one loss? Yes, because Michigan's out-of-conference schedule is not showing as strong now that Notre Dame cracked in the top 20. So that's how it goes. But overall, I think these two teams are on a collision course to meet at the end of the season undefeated. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already, because if you subscribe, you join. A lot of people have already, 134 people have already subscribed. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't, do it. We have a good time here. Every time I post a video, you know, my team, they do all the heavy lifting along with me, but you can always help drive the show by subscribing. Hope you all enjoyed. Drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you haven't already. Rock on.